I've noticed that. Oh,
Ooh, we're
we're live.
live. So fast.
It's so fast. I love it. Good morning, Lawrence. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Daily Whatever Show. I am Dana Dubois.
I'm Lawrence
Hi.
Winterman.
How's it going, my dear friend?
Oh, I need to I need to mute us apparently.
To mute us.
Yes. There we go.
Oh, on your personal computer. Okay, I
Yes, on
couldn't
my
hear it.
computer. Yeah. I'm good. There is a giant snowstorm rolling into northern Indiana, and so
Ooh.
I did my last minute run to the grocery store just like everybody else and got home in time to do this. And yeah, now apparently we're going to get something like 6 inches of snow today.
6 inches sounds kind of nice, Lawrence. Maybe if
I
you're
mean, you know
lucky, you'll
me,
get
I
eight or
prefer more
nine.
like 8 or 10, but
Yeah. You know, I had to make that joke.
I realized after I said it that I stepped right into it. So
You kind of did, but
yeah, yeah.
I
Sweetie,
growing
if
up,
it's not 8, don't even give me a call, okay?
right. Oh, Lawrence,
I'm
never
kidding,
stop
I'm kidding.
being.
Small penises are nice too.
Yes, I know. Never stop, Lawrence being, well,
Me?
Lawrence. Yeah, being you. For those who haven't seen it, I posted a quick story yesterday about Blue Friday and the fact that we are running a 50% off sale for subscriptions. And we listed like every person that came to mind. It was not scientific. You'll notice the list is not in alphabetical order or categorized in any way, but just a bunch of folks we think are Substacks worth subscribing to, and we encourage folks to take the Black Friday season and make it work for the things that you believe in, like independent media. But I'm bringing it up now because the image that I put with it is Santa Lawrence. I know people, a lot of folks have come in and been like, you should play Santa.
Yes, I
So
have done. I have been Santa.
I think that this photo is from 2017.
Uh,
Um,
Clearly, I am more gray beard now than I was then. I still
yes.
actually had color in my beard back in the day. I'd be a much better Santa now, except I think I have less patience and desire to do it.
You were
Uh,
such a good sport. My house is not large, and I'm the fool who is always welcoming everyone into it. And so I have another photo that from the same night. I think there's 17 kids either piled on your lap or all around you, like being crazy.
yeah,
There were a lot of kids.
it was a
So
lot.
yeah, this photo is with my own kids. I have covered their faces for privacy, but you can see me. I look pretty much the same, but Santa's in a Santa suit. And I think it's very cute. Here, let me grab the link and put it in here because but it is front and center if you just go to genxe.io. You cannot miss Lawrence, and you shouldn't miss Lawrence in
Aw.
his
And
Santa.
yeah, you shouldn't miss our big Blue Friday sale. So we're doing Blue Friday instead of Black Friday
Yes,
to get people investing in those people who are going to help change the map blue, make the map blue on election day in 2026. And we named a lot of people on our list. I think I put Stephanie Drury on there, our guest today. I hope
she's
that I did.
yes, you did,
Um,
and I did, and then I had to remove her because she was on there twice.
okay,
So
yay.
we were
And
so eager to have Stephanie on there. We both thought of her.
yes. Um, so Stephanie Drury is our guest again today. We're super excited. She was here with us about 2 months ago, I think. It's been
Something
a
like
little
that.
while. It's been a minute.
Yes,
But super excited to talk to her about surviving the evangelical holidays. She's
yes.
up and running on Substack, and so everybody should go
She's
subscribe to Stephanie. Uh,
yes,
so many fun things that she posts about surviving Christian culture. I feel like with
yes.
that we should bring her on. I've basically done the intro at this point. Stephanie,
Sure.
come on in.
Hi,
Welcome.
it's so nice of you to say. Thank you for having me.
Well,
Hello, Stephanie. How are you?
Good. I've been looking forward to this all week, talking to both of you.
Yay,
And
us
yay.
too.
Mercury is going direct today. Maybe she's already gone direct.
Mm,
And I was like, it might be easier to sign in this time around. So we'll just see. And it looks like it works.
thank goodness. We always love when Mercury is not retrograde. Stephanie, since when we last spoke, first of all, actually, before I jump into that, why don't you introduce yourself to the folks at home?
Oh my God. Let's see. I'm 50, so total Gen Xer, right in the middle there of the Gen X spectrum. I've got 2 kids in my 20s. Grew up Southern Baptist preacher's kid. I'm from Arkansas. Then I went to college in Texas. So really in the thick of the evangelical Bible Belt. I married another Baptist preacher's kid who was from San Francisco. So a little bit, you'd think there'd be a cultural difference. I thought his family would be way more chill, but
But no.
it's no. I mean, it's really, really consistent, that evangelical culture. But we moved to Seattle right after we got married 27 years ago. About to have our 27th anniversary. I started about 10 years in. I started sooner than that, to being married and being away. I started processing what was under my depression and anxiety, because it seemed really closely connected. I'd be activated by conversations with family and seeing family for holidays or reunions, and kind of was able. I'm so glad, so grateful to have gotten the help I did by people who were able to name, okay, you're involved with like a high control environment. And this one happens to be, they're using religion as the way to exert this control and not have, in the place of relationship. And it really helped me to see, okay, it's not me. I'm not crazy. This is a healthy response. Like, my depression and anxiety is my mind using my body to get my attention. Like, girl,
Right.
Yeah.
there's something not right. And so ever since then, around that time, everyone was blogging. So I started this blog. I called it Stuff Christian Culture Likes, because I was trying to kind of tease out what was different from what Jesus actually said 2,000 years ago and what modern Christian culture, particularly evangelical flavor, teaches. And no similarities between what Jesus said and what evangelicalism says. So it's been really helpful for me to process, and been very challenging for my family. They do not enjoy having the silent part said out loud.
Right.
So that's been a total journey, and apparently it affects a lot of people. And it's just so nice to have this network and know that we're not alone and we're not nuts.
Yeah. Stephanie, I saw the thing that you posted the other day, the stitch that you did after Oprah kind of talked about, oh, my friend, she just got told by her adult child that, no more contact is allowed. You were like, Oprah, hang on a second.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. It didn't go down like that, I promise. Could you talk maybe for a minute about, I thought you did such an eloquent job of kind of explaining that, in a situation where an adult child is asking for no contact, it's always because the adult child has gone through years and years of trying to make bids for connection and intimacy and just being seen. And the parent kind of consistently doesn't do that. And like, there's this level that gets hit of like, I'm making a mental calculation that having no contact is actually healthier for me than trying to endlessly bid for being seen. Could you talk for a minute about, like, it just felt so heartfelt when you were kind of replying to Oprah, like, how many things going through your mind?
Oh, well, you just framed it so well. I mean, just the way you just said it, I think you said it better than I did. Well, don't get me started on Oprah, first of all.
Get started on Oprah.
Get started on Oprah. Let's hear it.
I just think that anyone who willingly remains a billionaire, it just darks me out. No. I mean, you can be a millionaire, sure, but for all her talk, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She started out so great. I feel like she does have a special gift for connection and communication. Really, she has a really fascinating astrological chart, by the way. But yeah. My son knows more about astrology than I do, and he was telling me that they share a same like stellium or something. He's like, I'm like Oprah. I'm like, girl, you better like do well with that, because I feel like Oprah is an example of a lot of power. Like, you cannot be great. Anyway, she's just disconnected. And I did see another clip later though, where a therapist came on in that same episode or part of the series and told Oprah, the underlying key here to these family estrangements, just across the board, the piece that remains the same is that the parent is not willing to self-reflect. And Oprah seemed to hear that and reiterate it. And that's the point that I would make is, we can't be doing all the work. Like, there needs to be reciprocity in all relationships. And as Gen Xers, we weren't raised with that. We were raised by boomers who were raised by the silent generation. They would never have talked back to their parents. And they just were conditioned to accept all treatment. Children should be seen and not heard, and just like utter lack of respect for children. Children are a nuisance,
Yes.
and it stays that way. Like, they really have those roles cemented in. But and also hashtag not all boomers. There are lots who are able to self-reflect and are kind and truly are able to listen. I feel that a high control environment will talk people out of that kind of self-reflection. People are taught in these environments to deny their intuition.
Yes.
Because the high control environment counts on you not listening to your own inner voice, because then they can't control you. And so my personal experience with my family of origin, my biological family, is that a few years into my therapy journey, I asked my parents, will you please go to therapy with me? And this was after me setting boundaries and them just unleashing a firestorm. Like, they were so angry that I would say, this is the only boundary I made, is like, I want to have a relationship with you, and in order to do that, I need you to not criticize me. I need to, like, I'm however old I am, late 20s. I've got 2 kids. I work full time. I'm a homeowner. I have a great husband. Like, I can't get on the phone with you and hear about how much I suck for 1994. That one time you called my dorm room and I wasn't there, and you think my roommate lied to you. Like, shit like that would come up constantly. And it was the biggest deal. And, worse than that, like, I would be a dish rag crying on the floor. My toddler was like, say, don't cry, mommy. And that's when I realized, oh no, like, he's taking on my emotions like I took on my mom's, so right. That's when I got into therapy. So grateful for that process. But when it culminated in me saying, listen, let's go to therapy together, my parents' response was, it's too bad we're never going to see you again. And it's too bad that you're making this decision. No, right? Like, it's so dark, but it's also like, wow. Right. Okay, like, this is what I was dealing with, this kind of obstinance. And I know it's not just me, because they did it to brother and sister when they asked them to go to therapy with them, like, no contact across the board. And whenever I see someone, hear from someone from back home, they'll go, I ran into your parents and they say, our kids all just walked away from us.
Yes.
And my friends know, they're like, that doesn't just happen.
Right.
But, and it really often does not happen that all 3 kids or all the kids in the family will be united, because the roles of, like, the golden child and the lost child and the cheerleader and the scapegoat, like, they're so distinct and they're so pervasive that none of us ended up being the rah-rah, like, golden child in the end, where we like had to separate from them.
Can you talk for a little bit about, because you've said this phrase high control environment a couple of times, and you kind of just blew my mind a little bit, because you said my high control environment was through religion, right? And I, like, I think I get what you're talking about, but talk to me about that whole concept of high control environment.
Yeah, it's kind of a newer concept to me. It's obviously a psychological phrase, but I'm hearing it more and more. And I'm like, that's the perfect description because these dynamics play out not just in religious families, but in families that aren't religious. It's the way that the expectation of the culture in the family is to assimilate in a certain way. Don't talk about someone's behavior, drinking, whatever it is. Like we didn't have, my parents were too Baptist to drink, but they were raised by alcoholics. And my theory is that they just replaced one substance with another,
Right.
and they treat religion just like someone,
Ah,
what an addict would treat the substance. Like, okay, my feelings are overwhelming me. I don't want to feel them. I'm going to escape using this, and this will allow me to control how I feel, and it controls the people around me as well. So those dynamics, that's a high control environment, just with a different substance.
Yeah, it made me think that I know people who have come from narcissistic environments, like being raised by just really severe narcissists, who I think would describe it in the same way. It's just that the religion there, right? The thing there that they don't talk about is their parents' narcissism, or the thing that's controlling the environment is the narcissism. So, um, yeah, that's such an interesting kind of way of looking at it. And I think it just sort of exploded some things open for me in my brain about
yeah, me too.
how people grow up in kind of different environments, but experience maybe the same kinds of behaviors across the board. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
really
it's really
interesting.
universal. It really is. And the fact that it takes different forms, I think, is what makes people think, well, I'm glad I didn't grow up religious. Meanwhile, don't you dare talk about how your mom cries
Right,
in
right.
bed all day after say, I'm not going to spend, this particular, like I'm going to deviate a little bit, something like that. There's
Yeah,
You
lots
know,
of,
I
thinking of
love
my grandmother who she was not particularly religious, right? Like she was Jewish kind of in name only, but God, was she kind of a like attention narcissist person. And the way that my father grew up in that environment is so much like what you're talking about. Yeah, that's really interesting.
yeah, we're in the holiday season now officially. Woohoo. I'm hoping there'll be lights behind me pretty soon. And I feel like these sorts of questions just exponentially magnified when it's the holiday season because there's an expectation around family and
Yeah.
what family should look like there. So I'm extra glad we're talking to you about this right now. I've spent my whole adult life really kind of fascinated with like the the bad parent and how one manages that. And because I'm me, I think of it through a generational lens. So it's tapping on a lot of what you've said here. The boomer generation that raised us had a very top down approach to parenting, where there was it's almost like the child as property, or especially when they were kids, like they didn't get to have thoughts of their own, they didn't get to speak up, and that was the way that things were. Gen X is really pivoting that, as with most things. We're that fulcrum generation, and um, in the generations after us, I have seen, at least anecdotally through my social media network of friends, that millennials on down tend to be very quick, it seems, about cutting off parents, or at least a whole lot more of them have done it. And I think those of us, I think Gen X was the first generation where for some of us it became this question of, can I live the life I want to live and also maintain a relationship with one or both of my parents? I am someone who faced that question as a young adult, with my father, who is, I've written a lot about my father. I have a news story about him that I just posted this morning. I'll put a link in there. But Lawrence knew my dad growing up. Not religious, I suppose a narcissist, but that's not the first word I would use for him. He was just this type A, explosive,
yeah.
loud man. and misogynistic and racist and all the things you don't want to be. Big Trump supporter later in life as he came to power. And I, over the years, especially those younger adult years, was like, do I need to go no contact with him? He and my mom had divorced. He certainly, it took many years to say the word abusive. He was verbally abusive. But even as I'm saying it now, I'm like, abuse seems too hard a word. And there are people who are really abused. You know how we all apologize for these things. But what's interesting is the way I think Gen X knows how to gray rock. I've had a gray rock relationship with my father my whole life. Distance, space. And now as he is falling into dementia further and further, the last few years he's lived in memory care. I have learned so much about him through watching him go through that process.
Wow.
And dementia has pulled back all these layers of him, and he is now the scared little boy he was long before I ever arrived, who was likely abused, though I'll never have proof of that.
Yeah,
And
no.
who was
Probably.
protecting himself with that anger his whole life, is my conclusion. He's never told me any of this. Of course, he's not capable of it. But I have written many stories about this, of each time I go to see him, or even when I talk to him, I see clues. And I know I've been monologuing a bit. All of this is to say, in my life's journey, like, I'm grateful that I still am connected to him, maintain that tenuous connection so that I can now learn what I've learned from him. But I could only do that because he's 3,000 miles away. I'm gonna grab the link to this story. So I have huge empathy for folks who cut their parents out of their lives. I know there are times when that happens. And I also, when there are folks who are considering it or who seem a bit blithe about it, there's a part of me that understands where Oprah was coming from, of like, they are your parents, and there is an obligation to do what you did, which is take every path you can to try to keep them in your lives in a way where you can be healthy and still maintain that connection. Does that make sense, of the walking around
beautifully said. Yeah, no, that's you hit the nail on the head in every way. And that's really painful about your dad. And also so eye-opening to see him in this frame of mind, as he's you're able to see, okay, that's what all that bravado and swagger and anger was about. I mean, boys, I just feel so sorry for how they are not conditioned to be sad. You can't, the only safe emotions for them to show are anger and like horniness. Like, those are the only two like things that are socially acceptable. And so that's why we got gun violence, all the, obviously. It's just kind of beautiful that you're saying that you're learning from him. And I would say that you're breaking the cycle. Like, when we're able to take it to that point, like I will say now that I'm really grateful to have been raised in the family I was, because it forced me to not pass that on to my kids. And my kids do not struggle with anxiety and depression like I did. They know that we're not going to yell at them, like, we're not perfect. But like, we will never say it's too bad, we're never going to see you again, because they asked us to go to therapy with them.
Well, you acknowledged in the stitch, you were like, if my kids ever like had to get to a no contact with me, point, I would know that was on me, right? That it was, that it was my doing, which, is the kind of self-reflection that parents like that probably will never experience and can't get to, right? Is that acknowledgement, like, oh shit, I did this.
Yeah. And I think it comes from what Dana was talking about how you were saying that your dad, you're able to see what he was protecting. Like, I think that there's like just a certain callus that might be built up emotionally, where they're like, they can't self-reflect. There's something, a mechanism. And that has been helpful for me to realize, like, okay, it's not my fault. I'm not just like horrible beyond repair. They've got their own stuff, and we just might be at an impasse in this incarnation. I'm big on thinking that there's going to be second chance, and there have been more. I'm
Me
like, I
too.
chose this.
Me
Yeah,
too.
no, this
Okay,
is why
good.
we love you and get along. Like astrology and second chances and karma and many lives.
Life
I'm all
lessons,
there.
Earth School. Yeah. I mean, how beautiful, what a beautiful system.
Right.
I'm like, who was I in my past life? Was I the asshole parent? Was I not listening? Let's do this right this time.
Yeah.
I did
Yeah.
love the way you framed the end of the part of your response to Oprah, which wouldn't it be great if she got back to you? It was a really good video. And you said that part about if I'm estranged from my kids, that's on me. And I think that's what's lost in that message when people are estranged from their parents, is that like there are things in the relationship that go in both directions around respect and kindness and love and all of that. But there is, like, as the parent, like your job is the unconditional love. And that doesn't necessarily go in both directions. That's not something that goes in both directions the same way, right? Like your purpose as a mother is that you love these kids no matter what. And so, like, what your parents did, even if you hadn't been trying, which you were trying by every logical way you could to maintain that relationship, that should have been their job. Like, the parent needs to try to maintain the relationship with the child, because that's the job description. You're going to be flawed. You're going to mess up along the way, all those things. But at the end of the day, like, you love them through it no matter what. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry that your parents failed at the most important part of their job.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks. I appreciate
Somehow,
that.
and isn't it weird that somehow I usually say this to women, as most of the most amazing women I know had the shittiest dads. But
Yeah.
sometimes just the
Well,
shittiest
my dad was
parents.
so shitty that I was so focused. I was focused on my mom. Like I felt guilty. I felt sorry for my dad. I thought he was a victim of my mom for many years. And then I had a therapist go, I don't think you have even begun to scratch the surface of how your dad failed you. And
Oh my
he
gosh.
was so passive. He was so enabling. And I'm like, oh my God. Yeah, he was.
Wow.
And yeah.
Yeah.
So you can
Mine
be
was the
shitty,
opposite.
passively shitty, but like astronomically so. I'm like, you know what? If I was married to that dude, I'd be freaking out like my mom did too, like so tables started to turn a little bit.
Isn't that so interesting? Right. The sin of omission versus commission, that, like,
Yeah.
not protecting you.
Yeah.
Protection also part of the job,
Right.
right?
Huge, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A huge part of the job. Yeah, I was remembering to go back to my dad and sort of this idea of the wounded child who never gets healed.
Mhm.
Like, how many atrocities, including our current presidency, are committed because boomers didn't believe in therapy and mental health meds.
Right.
Because part of
Yeah,
the
just
reason I'm
get
able
over it and do it.
to do the
Yeah.
work, and my dad, before my stepmom died, who, she was another piece of work, we won't get into that, but they were both in this house. She was much younger than him, but she had MS, so she had help there. But he was just languishing in that house, and his mental health and his cognition just were nosediving, but didn't leave the house. And then she died, and became my job within a few days to get my grieving father placed into memory care in Florida. I wrote a whole story about it, and he had COVID too, just to make it extra spicy. Yeah, he's fine. But my dad is a bit like a cockroach. He's crazy resilient, and that's actually kind of the meta story of how he's now 81. I have no idea how he's still alive. Anyways,
Too mean to die is like an expression that I grew up
yeah.
with.
Yeah.
Yeah, he himself never thought he'd live this long, but we had a
Yeah.
nurse who knew him from his home care, who helped me get him into this memory care center, and we had to, like, trick him. We didn't say, hey, I'm checking you out of the home you've been living in for 35 years, and we're leaving your, you know, your diabetic, incontinent, fractious dog here. And I'm taking you to memory care. But I'd set the whole room up and, you know, furnished it and made it look nice. And we told him we were going to lunch. And we took him to lunch at the memory care center, and that was how he was in there. But it was the craziest thing of, he was like, this place seems sort of nice. He kind of got it at the beginning in a way he couldn't express, but it was like, if anything were to happen to Ruth, who had just passed, maybe I could live in a place like this. Like he did the math, right? And we were like, this is going so well, we can't believe it. And so we played along and we were like, yeah, do you want to see one of the rooms?
Oh God.
And the nurse was like, yeah, room 132, or I shouldn't disclose what room he's in. Y'all don't know which building memory care he's in. That room is open. And so we walked down the hall, because he could still walk back then, and into the room. And he walked in and saw this lovely room that I had set up that had photos of his grandkids in it, and like snapped, because it became real, and started screaming. And like, I've heard my dad yell a lot my whole life, but I've never heard him unleash like this, where it was like, you're my fucking daughter, fuck you, I hate you, get me the fuck out of this place. Like full, like, and I just froze. I became that little kid again, right? Because for decades I was like, you yell, I hang up. I walk away. You're not allowed to talk to me like that. And it was like the loudest and most. And so Rachel, the nurse, was like, Dana, go, get out. I'll meet you outside. You're making it worse by being here. And so I, you know, fled outside, and I could hear her. And she's this tiny little thing, and my dad is a very large man. But I could hear her starting to stand up to him. And when she came back outside, when she was done, she was like, so your grandma abused your father, right? And I was like, oh, I don't know. She died years before I was born. She died when she was just 50 of heart attack. And she was like, wow, well, her specialty is psych. And she's like, I'm 100% certain that he was abused by a woman, because as soon as I stood up to him and was like, you need to sit down and you don't talk to me like that, like the way he cowered and became this little boy again was 100% a hallmark of abuse. And it was like a light bulb went off in my head of like, how have I never, all of these years later, thought, oh, he probably experienced verbal abuse growing up, or possibly even physical abuse growing up. He never talked about it. Never. He still has never talked about that. But that was like the first piece that fell into place. And now as his memory is devolving, there are all these other ones that have clicked. But like, yeah, what you said about your parents replacing the alcohol of their parents with the religion of their parenting, it's all just a form of control and not facing their own issues, right?
Absolutely. I mean, everything you just said was really powerful, and I'm just so sorry. Like my heart really goes out, and that's one thing about being estranged that as I hear people my age starting to talk about their aging parents, I'm kind of like, I've already mourned my parents. I mean, they're still alive, but I'm not going to have to be involved. And that's like a tiny mercy, right? Like, I'm so sorry, because that's a reopening of all these old wounds that you've dealt with, and that's huge.
Yeah,
It's ongoing and unpredictable, and God.
And
bless you.
It's 3,000 miles away, and I talk to him maybe once a month or so, you know, maybe a couple times a month, I don't know, whenever I feel like calling. And I've written about, this is the constant theme through it, is he's so much easier now that he has dementia. And that sounds weird.
I hear that all the time.
But he is this kind, sad little boy that thinks he's done everything wrong now. And of course, the other half of it is he's finally on meds.
There you go.
I'm sure that
helps. If we could have gotten our parents medicated, if they could have had the proper help back in the day, you know.
Oh my God, right?
People are saying that estrangement, this is a new thing. They're saying it's a trend. And I keep seeing psychologists saying not a trend at all. It's just more visible now that we have social media, and people going through it have support through social media. But they're like, this has been happening since the dawn of time. And
Yeah.
psychiatrists, mental health professionals seem pretty pissed that people are chalking it up to a fad,
Yeah.
It's dismissive.
I keep thinking through this whole thing that like how much of this applies to Trump
Yes.
and how
I
much
am
like
thinking the same
could I
thing.
be in a no contact relationship with Trump, please? I don't
Like
want to be in
Mary
his high
Trump.
control.
I think about
photo
Mary
of
Trump all the time, how she's like the black sheep of the family who did the talking
Yes.
about it,
Right, right. And the therapy, right? And the work.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I wrote to
totally.
her to see if she'd come on our show. I have not heard back yet, but maybe one day. I was like, Mary, I think you'd like my show.
Well, and it also like it goes into this thing. I think we talked about this the last time you were on, Stephanie. The idea that like we as Gen X, and Dana, you kind of alluded to this already. Like we're the generation that's kind of first to stand up and say, "Hey,
Yeah.
you have trauma work. Like you had trauma. Great, now go do the work to fix it. Like it's your job to fix yourself." And Stephanie, I think what you're talking about, having a no contact situation with your parents because of the high control relationship, that's you during your doing your work and setting boundaries and being true to yourself, and like it's giving them the opportunity to heal even if they don't realize it, right? Like they're being forced to confront something or not confront, as the case may be, because you're doing your work and setting your boundaries and standing up for yourself. And I just keep coming back to this idea that, Dana and I have talked about on many, many shows now, that we're the generation that is, I don't want to make it sound like we're amazing, we're discovering it, but I feel like we were the first generation to finally break through and be like, no, you guys, we got to do this. And millennials and Gen Z kids are, even more than us, recognizing that like if you're here on this earth, you got to do your fucking work. Not
you
talking
are.
about it doesn't work
You
for
do.
anybody.
It's beautiful. Yeah, well, each generation is standing on the shoulders of the ones before, and
Right.
and so it's and then our kids are benefiting. The next generation is they do not play. I love how my Gen Alpha or Gen Z or kids are like, whatever, I'm selecting out of the group chat, and they're not mad. They don't have drama about it. They don't talk about it. I'm just like, how come I don't see that person anymore? Like, oh, and that's it,
Yeah.
Whereas
Yeah.
like it took me a long
Grandma's
time to
toxic
start to do
and you're
that.
not allowed to hang around with toxic people. Oh, okay, cool. I get it.
Yeah. And
Pat yourself on the back. You did
she
something right
saw
in
us
raising
model
them.
it, I guess, and that's another thing that I want to start talking about is how do you create the action items for things you never saw modeled, like with parenting, with life, for example. We're just like raw dogging life, constantly going, I've never seen anyone do this well, but I have these theories and I'm just gonna like put one foot in front of the other and see what
Right.
happens.
Right.
Raw
It's
dogging
so
life.
funny.
I've seen a bunch of people do this and that seems to not work. So I'm going to try this thing over here, even though they're all
Yeah,
going to
but
call
I've
me
never
crazy.
seen anyone. I've never seen a successful example, but that I don't want that to happen. So I'm going to do what they didn't do.
Oh my God.
For real.
I do have other family members that have not like said that they were disowning me, but when I am around them, I'm so activated. I get, all the symptoms, and then I will get physically sick. Like each time I see certain people or hear from them. It's so fascinating. And so for them, I don't want to say I get ill, but I have talked to them and said, listen, I need reciprocity. I'm not like making a check list here. Like, okay, you asked me about my day. I'm going to ask, I'm not doing that, but,
Right.
I'm the one kind of carrying the heavy lifting. I initiate, I hear all your stories. And then when I talk, it falls flat,
Right.
And I have brought this to several family members, and their response is kind of like, I do care about your feeling. They're just like mad about it. And so then I'm kind of like, okay, thank you. And I'm not like, I'm going no contact, but it's like, I'm trying to connect to myself and my intuition when I see their name come up on my screen. Like, how do I feel? And I let that guide me whether I respond or not. And some people aren't getting responses, and some people are not reaching out to me since I've said this to them. So that's another, I'm on both sides of it. Like I have had someone, I've been disowned, but then I'm also, taking these steps where I'm like, I'm not going to keep being my triple Pisces stellium 12th house with you and give and give and give. Like I can't be doing this
Oh,
because
girl, triple
yeah.
Pisces. I had no idea.
And I have an Aquarius stellium too, 12th house. I don't feel like I fit in anywhere. And I also feel everything way too viscerally. So I'm in a phase where I'm like,
All
I
right,
really have
yes.
to pay better attention.
Well, we could talk about astrology all day, I'm sure, but you made another video about kind of actually how to survive like a holiday party with
Yes.
evangelical
Oh,
folks,
yeah.
and turning it into a game. Tell everyone about that.
That is a game that my friend Emily McGraw came up with. She's one of the most hilarious people I know. She lives in Philly. Also had an evangelical background. And she told me years ago, it's been like over 10 years, that she and her husband, whenever they have to be around their evangelical family for the holidays or whatever, they write down what certain family members are going to say. They make like it's like fantasy football or whatever. You're like,
Oh
Right,
my
you know,
gosh.
you're drafting like events instead of players.
right.
So like
Aunt
for me, I'm
Muriel
like,
is gonna say this, and
yeah,
Uncle Ted is gonna say this, and yeah.
yes. So I just would make a list of what was, I'm picturing walking in. I feel tight. What is it that I'm afraid of? I'm afraid that he's going to say this. He's going to do this. She's going to every year, and so then we assign a dollar amount, like David and I do this together, sign a dollar
Oh my
amount.
God.
And then you just kind of tally it in your head, or if you have a sketchbook, you can just be like, people think you're dry or whatever's going on, or just have it listed in your phone. And that's how we've been doing it for years. And it is a very important part of Bug Me Bucks is that that's your hard-earned money, and your partner doesn't have any say in how you spend it. So, but Emily said one time they combined forces. She's like, after a particularly difficult Christmas, we combined all our Bug Me Bucks and got a really nice Japanese knife together. So you like make a silk purse out of a salvia. What's the expression?
Yeah.
So total
I
game
love
changer.
at the end of the video, you were like, and you get to spend that money on pixie sticks or ketamine or whatever you want.
Those were my go-to.
Pixie sticks or ketamine.
Okay.
Oh my God. That seems like a t-shirt, Lawrence. Pixie
Yeah,
sticks
honestly,
and ketamine.
yeah, for sure.
Or a band
My new
name.
podcast name. I should have a podcast. Maybe we can call it that.
Yeah, pixie sticks or ketamine.
Oh my God.
Or maybe pixie sticks and ketamine. You just mix them together.
The
The pixie
strategy,
sticks honestly were a little bit better for me, but that was just my experience.
do they still make those?
Probably.
You have to look for them. I found them online, all
Okay.
that old, the pick and mix. Like I'm obsessed with the Neapolitan coconut, like the chocolate, vanilla, strawberry layer things that were in those cubes.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
You know,
Yeah, I
you
remember
can't find them
those.
in stores anymore. But like all I want to eat is Gen X candy. So
Do you remember the dip in one where you like ripped open the packet and
The
you got
Fun
a
Dip.
candy stick?
Fun
and you
Dip.
would
Oh yeah.
dip it in. Yeah, yeah.
Yes. That
I
stick
loved it.
was delicious. It was
Right.
like it had vanilla notes. Like it felt like gourmet.
It was
I'm
like
this
floral
stick
and
actually. Let's
vanilla-y and
talk about this stick.
right.
It really was good. I think they were called Lickimade Fun Dip.
Yeah,
Like, that was the full name. I'm gonna
Yeah.
look that up right now.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
Yeah. All right, Stephanie, I've got a question. Let's bring it into the news a little bit. So we're learning that Pete Hegseth basically said "kill them all" to the people in the boats in the Caribbean who were accused of being drug runners, and specifically like targeted two people who were knocked off the boat and swimming in the water and basically blasted them apart. So my question to you is, good Christian or best Christian ever?
Storing up so many jewels in his crown in heaven.
Right.
Jesus is so happy with what he's doing.
Right. Where in the Bible, I don't remember, being Jewish, I didn't read
I
the
don't
New
remember.
Testament. Where is blast people to pieces because you're the Secretary of War in
If
the
they're
It's
Bible?
brown.
very, it's
If they're
very
brown.
Old Testament. Like And that's the
Right.
problem with evangelicalism is they say they're Christian, but they love the violence and the rape and molestation and murder of the Old Testament.
Right. Right. They're like, yeah, Jesus was great, but we're going to go back to the Old Testament and yeah, for sure. Where God commands so and so sacrifices his firstborn son as a show of fealty.
Didn't
That
dude
stuff's
sleep with his
cool.
daughters too in
Lot
the yeah,
or Lot's
that was
daughters, like that's the most horrific Bible story.
right.
And
That's Old
there's
Testament,
tons.
right?
The Old
Old Testament.
Testament.
Yeah. I am so Bible dumb, but yeah, the Old Testament's kind of got the greatest hits going.
It's got really great hits. And the whole point, though, of Christianity is that Jesus shows up and is like, okay, that was the old law. He's like, I'm giving you a new law. And it's actually two. It's love. It's love the Lord your God with all your heart and soul and mind, and then love your neighbor as yourself. Those are the only two laws that Jesus gave and said, don't pay any attention to the old stuff.
Right. Yeah, Rachel's pointing out in the chat the Old Testament is the Pentateuch. It's the Jewish Bible. It's the, holy books of Judaism. And it makes me crazy, right? Because I'm like, why, you guys, this stuff is busted. Like, how is this the shit that we believe?
I know. And there's so much about Judaism that's so beautiful.
Right, right.
Like
It's
I
like,
follow rabbis who are so wise and loving, and I'm like, I need to know more. Like, it just makes me so curious.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, for sure. And Laura is saying Old Testament written by a bunch of old men. So I took a class in college called The Bible as Literature, and I didn't know any of this, even though raised Jewish and everything, that like you can literally identify the different sects of authors who wrote the Old Testament and how basically it was like a war through of words across generations where some of them were very liberal and kind and some of them were super mean and sinners in the hands of an angry God. I know I'm being anachronistic and mixing things there, but and that basically like there are multiple versions of each story and it's like the mean bad version and the slightly nicer version, and yeah, it's crazy.
It's so interesting to me because the Old Testament, as you say, is like that, and then the New Testament is like that. Like different people wrote different books that got picked in the gospel, and why did they pick these ones? Oh, well, there's something called the Council of Nicaea that was a bunch of white dudes or guys in power who are like, let's cut all the female apostles that Jesus sought out and had as close disciples. Let's get them out of there, because if we let women go around thinking that Jesus thought they were equal, then we can't control the women. It's so fucked. It's just
It
so
is
par for the
honestly so
course,
fucked.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm a click back still, Lawrence, when you were like, let's bring this to politics, and you went Hegseth. I thought you were going to go full Trump. And this is a weird thing to say. My dad reminds me of Trump, or Trump reminds me of my dad. Like
For
they
sure.
kind of look alike. Back me up
Yeah.
here, Lawrence. They
No.
kind of look like they're both from New York. They're about the same age. They kind of got that lumbering thing. And with the presumed dementia kicking in with our president, like the stuporous look is the same. And the way that Trump looked up at Mamdani in the photos when he's sitting and he's looking up at him like, I love you. Like that helpless little boy look is exactly what I'm talking about in my dad, as the bully is pulling back and that scared little boy is starting to come forward, and think that he's done everything wrong, and he's always worried about what others think. And like my dad, who's been racist his entire life, is now surrounded by and xenophobic is surrounded by Black immigrant women who take care of him, and he loves the shit out of them. Like he cries for, like, he'll be like, this is my best friend, and he'll drag them over to meet me. Like he loves these women. And it sounds weird to say, but the flash I got in my head when I saw that photo of Trump with Mamdani was he loves him. Like it's that same scared little boy under the bravado. I don't even know if I have a point here other than to say I need no other proof that Trump is in cognitive decline than that look.
Valid. I
And
mean, honestly, it's so across the board. Like anyone who knows specializes in that kind of cognitive decline, I
yeah,
really think would agree with you. Like, yes, this is a symptom.
yeah. And I think I'm choosing my words carefully here. When Trump was elected both times, I like escaped from my dad, and I'm using that word a little bit blithely, but I did move 3,000 miles away. And it wasn't just because I needed to get away from my dad, but that has helped. That made that relationship completely manageable, and it's had very firm boundaries. And I didn't explicitly call them out, but implicitly, if we get on the phone and he starts popping off about Trump or blah blah blah, I would be like, I'm going now, and we leave. And he learned over time, like, if you talk to me like that, I don't stick around. But it was all very much in my control. And when the high person in highest position in the country has that sort of controlling, awful disposition, and I'm like, I want to check out and put boundaries on you, but I can't because you're controlling everything. That was really hard the first go around. It's like I've just had to squish those feelings all the way down the second time around, or it would be unmanageable for me. I would be in a complete panic attack all the time. But I wonder if you or others in the audience feel that sense of, like, I think if you've had a controlling narcissistic parent, it makes, and you've made the change to get away from or manage them, it makes being under the thumb of one as a ruler like super triggering and harder. Did you feel that at all when Trump especially came back the second time?
You know what's interesting is I had a friend say in 2016 during Trump's debate with Hillary, she was like, the way he's like stalking around her
Yes.
and being
Oh,
snide of her, she's like, that's really triggering for me. And I'm realizing that my stepdad did that to my mom, that kind of thing. And I was very activated by Trump being reelected. I knew somehow he was going to win the first time. So, and that felt almost like a grace, like it helped me accept it, like ease into the acceptance. But when he was reelected, that was more activating for me because I'm like, he's being believed, because these pastor parents, in-laws that I have are like seen as by everyone. And just the fact that it triggered me the same way the Oprah thing. She's like, my friend said that everything was great, and then her daughter just called her out of the blue. It's like, bitch, that is not how that went down. Guarantee you, your
Right,
friend's
girl, come
version. You
on.
need to have her daughter on.
Right.
Truth to power, Oprah. We gotta tell you that's not how things happen. If
Yeah.
that's what your friend believing and saying that explains so much about how it actually happened. Because if she's
There
in
you
there like,
go.
I did nothing at all,
Did nothing at
and
all.
suddenly my
Right.
daughter, she's been on the social medias and seen all these other people doing this. It's a
Right.
fad, and she ditched me.
She started watching the TikTok, and now she has all these crazy ideas. Yeah. No.
Meanwhile, our moms watched Oprah in the 80s, and they like were enacting stuff that Oprah said. And that seemed like a fad thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It makes me come back to the thing, and Dana and I have talked about this before, of like, to us, Trump is so obviously broken and bad and criminal and skeezy. Like, I really literally still to this day don't understand how people look at him and are like, yes, what a great guy, I want him to be president. Which,
Yeah.
Stephanie, is making me think, you must kind of have that embedded as well, like with your parents, who other people look at and they're like, oh, they're so holy, and you're like, they're really shitty parents though, like, come on.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to, this is my theory, and this is all I think about, all I want to write about, is that when you come from a high control environment, you squash your intuition, you don't listen to that little voice anymore, you mistrust it, you think it's misguiding you, and you transfer your agency to a pastor or leader, whoever is in charge, and you just let them do it. And I have come across so many people who don't want to think for themselves. I mean, I've had friends where I've had to I'm like select away because they honestly don't want to think for themselves. They want to be told who to vote for and what job should I do? Oh, I'll just let my husband take care of the finances. Oh, I'll just let that happen.
Oh
You
my
know,
God.
it
Don't do
seems to
that,
have a
ladies. Don't
common,
ever do that.
yeah,
Don't
it just seems to be an undercurrent, like a common theme of they grew up in some kind of high control family or addicted or otherwise narcissistic or religious, and the evangelicals, got Trump elected because
ever.
they aren't listening to the little voice
Yeah,
inside.
that's so true. I, there's
I'm
an
laughing.
article for you, Stephanie. I think you should write that.
I think you should too. I
Yeah.
would read or podcast about it.
Sorry, I mean I didn't mean to give you homework.
No, absolutely. I
I'm
need
not
to.
coming
I
on
feel
your
like I
show
need
just to give
to.
Inspiration.
homework assignments.
It's inspiration, Lawrence. I'm laughing so the chat's been awesome today, and I know we haven't been pulling out quite as many comments as we usually do, but we're now having a whole conversation about latkes. We got on a whole Jewish thing, and I said latkes are bullshit. They're not that interesting, and I'm getting yelled at, and I'm laughing. I think I'm gonna write the story this holiday season, Lawrence, of like when you're Jewish, you're supposed to get really excited about latkes. I'm like, they're fucking hash browns, you guys. They're fine.
Okay,
The
I'm not
Christian
familiar with
kids,
them
the
apart from the Real Housewives of New York City.
yeah.
Like I think it's one of the first seasons where Jill and Bethany were in a fight, and Jill made Bethany latkes, and she's just like, "Thank you."
You
And
know,
then later,
they're
Jill's like,
fine.
she wasn't excited enough about my latkes. It was a big thing.
Oh my God,
Or
that's so funny.
because
Here's the thing though,
it's
when you're
potato pancakes.
yeah, when you get raised Jewish, you're supposed it's a metaphor for all the things that you don't get with that your Christian friends all have of like they get trees and lights and ornaments and
Gifts.
gifts and Christmas candy and Christmas cookies. I'm supposed to get excited about a fucking menorah and some potato pancakes. No, thank you. No, thank
But
you.
you
They're
get
not.
eight crazy nights. You get 8 days of presents, is what I
They
always thought. Come to
Well,
no.
I
find
mean,
out, they're
it's
just
like
like
You
little
get
presents,
you
right?
the
just get a
first
little.
night they give you a twig, and it's like this is only the first night, so you're getting some Hanukkah gelt,
Here's a
which is like little
dreidel.
chocolate discs that taste funny.
Yeah, like the
Ah.
coins, the money coins. And you're like, I'd rather have money and a more significant amount than the $2 that the shitty chocolate costs.
Seriously.
But yeah, it's like, and I get it, like latkes can taste good. And then it's like sour cream or applesauce. You start fighting about what goes on it. And I'm like, I literally don't care. Christmas cookies. I want Christmas cookies. I want Christmas candy. I want a big dinner with turkey or ham. Like that is all way more exciting than some fucking potato pancakes.
Right,
And I will die on this hill.
right. Ice cream with
I'm gonna
Cosign.
write
donuts
the
and
story this
fruitcake with
year.
no nuts.
No fruitcake though. I'll pass on the fruitcake, nuts or
You're
otherwise.
kind of
But
making me want some McDonald's hash browns, although.
yeah, hash browns
Honestly,
are
I think
the
they're the
fine.
best
best
latkes
ever.
I've ever had are McDonald's hash browns.
Okay, good to know.
Yes. The chat's gonna go crazy. Jason's saying I get Belgian chocolate gelt though. Yeah, they figured out how to make better gelt, but it's still just like tiny little pieces of chocolate. It's not exciting. Like
Is it the fact that it's kosher? Like, does that take any of the fun away from? Like, does it take the flavor away? What
no,
is
Maybe it should make it
it's
better,
the
right?
gold
Because
coins in the
Yeah,
mail that you open
I
up.
love those, but I love shitty chocolate. Like, I
Yes,
have friends who are like, no, and I'm like, give me that gold foil wrapped hollow chocolate Santa or whatever. Like, I don't care.
yes. With you. Those are good. And you can get the fancy ones, but I do think there's a joy in the like Russell Stover's marshmallow with the chocolate coating. I like those.
Marshmallow,
I love
love.
marshmallow. Yeah, it's a metaphor, isn't it, Lawrence? Of like, it's not that latkes taste bad; they're fine. It's just we were supposed to get excited, like it's time for latkes, and I'm like, can't we bake Christmas cookies though? Because those look
right,
a lot better. They
right.
I
just
bet that's
Can
something
I
you're
get
doing
cheese and
differently with your
bacon
kids.
on my latkes?
Yeah.
it is.
Yes,
Explicitly forbidden.
I
loaded
know.
vodka.
I
Yeah,
want my
we
latkes loaded with some chives and sour cream and bacon
right. Can
and
I get them
cheese.
covered, smothered, and chunked or whatever? We'll go full Waffle
Yeah,
House on them.
seriously. Yeah.
That would make
Scattered,
them
smothered, covered, and diced or whatever. Yeah. I'm
chunk,
going to a
chunked.
Waffle
Is
House.
yeah. I just looked this up because when I was in Georgia with my older daughter, I was like, we have to go to. We didn't go to Waffle House, but I was trying to explain that I was like, as your mother, I need to teach you because we don't have these in Seattle that you need to know how to order here. smothered and covered in the. Do you know what we're talking about, Stephanie? Was there
Oh
Waffle
yeah,
House?
no, I'm from Arkansas. I miss
Yeah, I
Waffle House
figured.
so bad being in Seattle.
I figured you had to know about that. And yeah, we are doing it differently. We in our home, like we're not religious people, but we get a tree and lots of presents. The baking of the cookies, though, I actually have a story I started about this about pie crust that I may finish. We'll see over Thanksgiving because um, I wish I were baking home. I wish my kids had grown up learning how to make homemade cookies with me and homemade pie crust, but I buy my crusts because who the fuck has time when
Oh,
you're a
I'm with
single
you.
working mom running a home and working right up until the day of Christmas, and maybe you get Black Friday off and maybe not. Like, I don't want to spend the whole fucking day cooking.
Crusts also are there's so much work, they're so picky, they're so exacting. They give you
Yes.
ass to kiss, and then you don't notice them really while you're eating the pie. You know what I mean? Like you're just concentrating on
Yes.
whatever's in the pie or
They're
the
the
topping, you know?
background. I
Not
do
my
love a good
crust
pie.
though. I mean, I made a
Lawrence,
spectacularly good apple caramel pie for Thanksgiving. Thank you very
it looked
much.
amazing. I saw the picture and I was like, I miss Lawrence's
I
Thanksgiving
use
cookies.
I use the vodka crust method. Like it's
Vodka?
foolproof.
What? I don't know
Yeah.
So,
this.
yeah, me neither.
You use ice water and chilled vodka. You mix them together, and that's what you use to moisten the dough. And so you get the dough to the point where it adheres and sticks together, and
Okay.
then the vodka, being alcohol, evaporates or bakes off. You know, when you cook it, and so you've got minimal moisture except the moisture from the butter, and your dough rolls out perfectly and bakes super flaky.
Oh
Never
my
heard of
God.
this.
I feel like I'm in a fever dream. And Melissa's saying vodka crust is amazing. Like, how have I lived 55 years and never heard of this? Oh, because I didn't
Same.
grow up in a household that baked pies and made cookies. We made fucking latkes.
Right.
That's why.
That's the reason. And I grew up in a Baptist household that baked like crazy, but there was never a drop of alcohol anywhere the
Right.
entire
Never any
time.
vodka in that crust
True.
for sure. Yeah.
Mhm.
Here's a
No,
weird
it's the
question.
secret.
Lawrence, question, because we grew up around a lot of Jewish people. Theory and question. Did Jews not bake a lot? Like, can you think of any Jewish people who are like super bake from scratch baking people?
Yeah. I mean,
But it's like hollow,
challah.
right? That,
Yeah, no, challah's a
Yeah,
huge
that's
deal.
true. But I know growing up, I don't think I knew any families that had fresh baked bread.
I think we knew a very particular
hmm.
kind of Jewish people.
That's true. That's true. We knew South Florida, New York Jews
Right,
who were
right.
like,
New
honey, why
York,
would we
sort of
buy the challah?
upper middle class, maybe a little, eh,
Right. The men didn't fix anything. So I never grew up knowing anybody handy.
sure.
And I don't think there was a lot of home baking. I think cooking from scratch, sure. My mom made briskets and she made, you know, all kinds of like savory dishes, and latkes. But I don't remember, I have no memory of my mom like baking other than from mixes and not frequently. And I can't think of any of my friends' moms who were making fresh baked things. And I'm like, is that because like Christmas cookies and like that sort of at home?
Hmm.
Is it because the aesthetic rose with Martha Stewart and so people back in that day weren't doing it that much? Or is
Well,
it because is it a religious split?
I,
it kind
I
of
don't know.
seems like a working mom issue as well.
My mom
Did your
was
mom
not
work?
working.
Okay,
No,
never
not
mind
till I
then.
was
There that
50.
goes.
Yeah, then I give up. I mean, the reason I know how to cook
Yeah.
and bake and swing a hammer and build things is because of my mom. And she was not she converted to Judaism.
Yeah,
My
she
dad
wasn't.
didn't do any of those things. My grandmother cooked and baked. Like, oh my God, she was amazing.
Oh, okay. So you did have that. My grandmother,
Yeah, seriously, what am I thinking? You said, do I know any Jewish people who baked? Edna, my grandma Edna was
Edna.
literally, her family had a bakery.
Oh my God, that's amazing. My
Yeah, my great
grandmother,
grandparents were
no,
bakers. My
that's
grandmother was a
amazing.
baker. So yes,
That's
I do know them.
incredible. That's incredible. I did not know that about you. My grandmother on my dad's side died before I was born, as previously established, but my grandma, who I grew up with, when she and her husband, my grandfather, moved from New York to Florida when he retired, she decided she also retired from cooking. And so I literally never saw her cook a thing ever in the 26 years I knew her. We always died. We went to the Rascal House. We're having a chat about that in the conversation here. I have a story about it. I'm going to share it to Substack soon. But yeah, we 3 meals a day. They went out to eat. She was like, I don't do this shit anymore. And kind of
Nice.
full respect to Grandma Roz for being like, you get to retire, I get to retire. I don't
Goals.
want to cook. Right?
Yeah.
And
If it's a chore, yeah, retire from that. If he retired, you retire.
that is exactly what they did. But as a result, I didn't grow up with that like homey grandma who was like, I baked this for you, you know, you look too skinny, eat this. I had the opposite. You're getting too
Same.
fat, don't eat so much.
Yeah.
You're getting too fat. Here, I made this gigantic devil's food cake. Clean
Oh
your
my
plate.
Yeah. I got the you know, you need some more meat on your bones. I baked you all these things because you were coming to visit. Here's an entire 900 count of snowball cookies that I made for you.
Oh my God, Jason just shared a link to a gift link to the New York Times chocolate babka arugula recipe. So, oh yeah, Lawrence, when I was before, hold on, Morgan X said, fuck arugula, give me the babka. And I'm like, that should be a t-shirt, I'm pretty sure.
Seriously.
Here, I'm
Okay,
just sending.
speaking of the paywall for the New York Times recipes or any paywall, I
Yeah.
only recently learned about archive.ph, where if there's any paywalled article, you just enter the link into archive.ph and it'll take you there.
Oh,
So
amazing.
yeah, you can cancel
That's
your
nice.
New York Times subscriptions because I'm pretty conflicted about them, but I do want the
Oh, yeah.
recipes. So
Super conflicted about them. Right, but I love New York Times cooking, exactly.
Right. I feel like that it's ripe to compete with, though. The only reason New York Times, well, they do have pretty good recipes, but what really makes the New York Times cooking app so amazing is there's no chatter because they don't have to have all the SEO keywords. There's no like, back when I was 16, I traveled to Italy and I roamed the countryside. And you're like, I just want the fucking recipe.
I know I don't need to know your
And
emotional interaction with this
no,
ambrosia Watergate
Yeah.
salad. Like
exactly.
jump to recipe.
And all the ads popping up, and I get why
Oh.
they're doing it. They gotta pay their bills.
Right. Oh God, the apps that or the ads popping up that basically like reset the page flow so that suddenly you're like,
Yeah.
I was just on the
Where was
instructions.
I?
What the
You're
fuck?
scrolling and you've got lard and flour on your fingers and you're trying to like get back to the point of the
Right.
recipe.
Yeah,
Guys, maybe this
exactly.
is how we make our money. We make an app where we archive every single recipe we can find. We'll probably get sued, but we don't. We just a shit ton of recipes, and it is in the New York Times style where it's like the ingredients, how to do it, and one photo and like the shortest of paragraphs about why to make it. And it's a $5 a month subscription, but you can avoid all the bullshit, and every basic recipe you need is there.
Perfect.
I would subscribe to that.
I
That's been a good
absolutely
idea.
would.
I like that's part of the reason I keep my New York Times subscription is because when I need to make anything basic, you know, it's going to be there'll be something in there. It'll be reliable, and you won't have to scroll through all the ads. I
Right.
think
I
that
mean, my apple pie, it was the Melissa Clark New York Times cooking classic apple pie recipe.
and you just added caramel.
Right. I was like, what happens if you throw some Werther's original soft caramels in the middle of it?
Oh my God, is that what you did? You melted Werther's into your
Yeah.
pie?
Yeah, the soft ones,
So
the soft
smart.
Werther's, not the hard ones. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah, and it was
my,
amazing. There you go.
oh my God,
How
wow,
many?
Lord.
Did you like make a solid layer or did you space them out?
No, I spaced them out. So I melted some and mixed them with heavy cream so that it would be like a liquid. And then like half the bag was that and the other half of the bag. So there's an entire bag of caramels in this cake.
Now we're talking.
Yeah, the other half was just kind of scattered through.
Neurodivergent Hodgepodge is saying my grandmother made soda cracker toffees that would trigger fistfights over them.
Those
I
are
love that.
so good.
Yes,
I
they
don't know
are.
what that is. Soda cracker toffees. Now I
It's
have
like
to look that up.
saltines and you pour caramel over them and then you pour chocolate on top and it dries like almond roca kind of, but like the texture is like really crispy and thin.
Oh my God. Okay, well now I have to do that. Except there's a giant snowstorm and I'm stuck inside for the next 2 days.
Oh my
Damn
God.
you.
Oh, and Jason O'Dell is saying everyone should have a copy of The Joy of Cooking. Like cosign, I don't
do.
love having to open a book, but I still do. And I learned how to cook from that book. That was me being like, I'm poor and I have black beans here, dried ones. How do I don't know how to make these into food. Open the book, like that was how I learned how to cook all the basics was The Joy of Cooking. So I think I'm going to get that for my daughters before each of
I think I'm going to
moves
get
for
it for my son
college.
because he just moved out and says he's nervous
Yes,
about cooking, and
Yeah.
yes.
so that might
Joy
be
of
a
the
really
Everyone
King
should.
basic.
and the Julia Child.
I
Yes,
never
and
had
well,
that
I gave
one.
him the America's Test Kitchens cookbook, which
Yeah, that's
is
good.
Oh,
yeah, it's really good it's really basic because you really can't screw it up.
Right. Yeah.
oh my
Oh
God.
my God, Stephanie, this was so much fun. Thank you so much for coming in and hanging out with us today.
Holy cow, look at the time. I feel like we just got started and it's already
I know.
like so far after. Any last minute parting words of advice for folks who know they're going to be managing family this holiday season?
Stay connected to yourself. Like I would just say this is what I'm trying to do. This is my big project that helped me in the beginning, and it helps me now. I like to keep it really simple. Just like, what's my first impulse? And I kind of try to connect with like right here, and also like your gut, like right in these areas. Like, okay, how does that make me feel? And go towards what you want to do. Like, you won't go wrong if you're going towards what you want to do.
Oh my God,
And you'll
that's
feel guilty. You'll feel guilty because you've been conditioned not to. And just take notice of it. You're like, thank you, guilt. I realize you're trying to keep me safe or whatever, but I'm going to put you in your seatbelt, in your little booster seat in the back seat and strap you in. I'm not going to listen to you.
That's excellent advice. And my career coach, Lindsay Lyman, who we had on a week or so ago, said the same thing to me about a different sort of guilt or fear around a career ride of like the anxiety has been driving your bus. First, make it sit in the passenger seat
Yeah.
and don't and be like, it's going to try to tell you where to drive and be like, I'm sorry, I've got this. I know the route. And it's eventually going to just move to the back seat and be like, I guess she knows where she's going. You're never going to fully get rid of it, but manage where it sits. I feel like
Oh
that
God.
applies here as
I
well.
love how she said that. That's amazing. Yeah. See? We're
Yep.
so in sync.
I love that. We're going to definitely do this again in 2026. I can't
yes.
believe
Okay.
it. Do you ever pause and you're like, it's not really 2026 in a few weeks, is it?
Yeah,
It
All the
is.
time.
all the time.
Those dates seem like sci-fi far away, and yet
Yeah.
Right.
here we
I
are.
looked
They
at,
are.
speaking of the New York Times, I like opened it the other day and just got caught for a minute on the header, and it was, it
Yeah.
was like, I don't know, whatever, like November 17th, 2025, and I was like, fuck. Like
How is it? Right. Did you feel like you were in high school, like looking ahead to a date, being
yeah,
like,
I was like,
one?
exactly. I was like, imagine high school me looking at this and being like, it's the future. And and just that moment of like, how would I explain this to my high school self?
I know. You're like,
Um,
it's like Dune. You're in the year 3047.
right. Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
exactly. But a crazy person is president of the United States and you're constantly triggered by his actions. But you're coping by sitting at home alone in your apartment with your cats, working on a computer screen.
Talking and writing to everyone in the world through a little device that's sort of like a Walkman that you hold in your hand, but
Right.
you can't fathom what that thing can do.
Right. But we call
Yeah.
it a phone because it's replaced all the phones. But
Right.
it's actually a supercomputer. So congratulations.
Right. Oh my God. That I would wish we could go back in time and tell young Lawrence and Dana that. And Stephanie, we're definitely going to bring you back on. And it just crossed my mind of like, I want to bring you back on and talk about launching young adults into the world.
Mm.
Because you're like 2 clicks ahead of me. You have 2 kids also who are they like 22 and 20? How old are your kids now? They're like
20 and 23 right now. Yeah.
okay.
You know what you should
Mine are
do? You should
17
invite
and
Melissa, and the three of you should have that conversation, and I should take a
Lawrence, God damn
vacation.
it. God damn it. That's exactly what I was about to say. Why do
Lars
you
will be
read
like,
my
I'll be over here
mind?
petting my cats and
Right.
drinking this beer.
Yeah, I'm keeping my cats as
Doing
inside
fun
cats.
things.
Melissa, if
I'll
you're
sit
still
around
here in
eating
the
bonbons and listening to the three of you talk about, raising fully engaged human beings.
yes.
Congratulations.
Melissa, if you're still in the chat, we're gonna talk. You two with your evangelical backgrounds and your like super warrior presence, like you and parenting, and yeah, that's gonna be like a superhuman sort of episode. We're gonna make that happen. Goals for 2026.
There you go.
Is your
Sorry.
husband playing a show soon? Am I? Oh, you're making that up.
He might be.
Okay,
I don't know.
I'm trying to think of an excuse to see you because
I
we live in the
know.
same goddamn city.
Yeah, no, well, yeah, message me. We'll get coffee. Something will happen. We'll
Okay.
find a way to meet up. His birthday is on Sunday. If you are, I know it's short notice, but I was going to make Texas sheet cake, and we were just going to sit around and low
Oh my
key,
gosh,
but whatever.
I'm around this Sunday,
Yeah,
like tomorrow. Oh
tomorrow.
my
Yeah,
gosh,
tomorrow
happy
night.
birthday to David. And yeah, send me an invite. I think I can pop
I
over.
totally will.
Oh
Okay,
my gosh,
perfect.
and next Saturday for the audience to hear too, but I think this will especially resonate with Stephanie. Carrie Ockery is our guest
Oh my God.
from Goodness and Hammerbox, like
Yeah.
long time Seattle like rock and roll royalty. I need to write her. I'm hoping she's going to sing live. We'll see.
Dude,
Oh my gosh.
that's such a good.
I
Oh my
know
gosh, I
she's
gotta
not
tune
on
in.
Substack, but she is going to blow everybody's minds because she's
Love her.
amazing. I love her too. She's so when I saw Goodness play a couple weekends ago, I was like, "Do you want to come on my podcast?" And she was like, "Yes." So all the amazing Seattle women, I want every single one of you on here because
I love it.
why
I'm
have a
here for
podcast
it.
if you can't do that? Lawrence likes strong, feisty women, so
Right, I do. Yeah. My gay boy programming is that I love divas.
So does David. I'm like, I'm like, you really gravitate. He has 3 sisters. He doesn't have any brothers. I think he's just like comfortable with women, but he's like, he likes a strong diva. So.
Yeah.
oh my god, I love that.
Yeah.
You're in
Ain't
luck,
nothing wrong with
son.
that.
I don't want to let you go, Stephanie, but we do have
I
one final
know.
question for
Well,
Morgan.
hopefully we'll
And
see you tomorrow. Oh, final
she's
question.
asking, do you know the Whitworths in Seattle? I don't know the Whitworths, but I'm wondering if you do.
It's ringing a bell.
Are
It's
they
ringing a bell.
people
So
or a band?
I don't know. People are band, Morgan. I think people. Definitely don't know a band called the Whitworths. That would be a good band name, though.
yeah, I kind of would.
Yeah.
I feel like I do, but if they're in church circles, I've kind of been out of that for a little bit, so I can't remember.
Oh, she just said Kevin Whitworth, OG grunge.
Oh, it's music.
Yeah, and his wife. I
No,
don't think.
I don't think I do.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
got
think I
here
do.
like
I didn't
right
grow up
after
here.
grunge in '96, so I
Yeah.
like Kevin Whitworth, Seattle grunge. Let's just see. He's a grungeadelic. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, he was in Love Battery. Okay, I do know
Oh,
Love
love
Battery.
that. Okay, we know
Yeah,
that then.
yeah. We've seen him play, even if we don't know him. All right, we're really gonna go this time. You hang up first. No,
You
you
Yeah,
hang
hang
up
up
you.
first.
first.
No,
You.
you.
Love you guys.
All right.
Love you,
Thanks,
mean it.
everybody.
Bye,
Love you.
Bye.
everybody.
Bye. Mwah. Ah,
Bye.
bye.